Hey guys, welcome to a new video, and today I am going to be doing a complete in-depth guide for noobs on how to do Zalcano. So let's jump straight into the requirements. So for the requirements, the only actual requirement you need to do Zalcano is completion of the quest, Song of the Elves, which is a Grandmaster quest. It is relatively hard and you do need quite a few stats which are on the screen now. You do need 70 agility, construction, farming, herblore, hunter, mining, smithing and woodcutting. So relatively high, and you also need relatively high combat stats to complete the quest anyway. As a Grandmaster quest, obviously it is one of the most difficult quests in the game. I would say it's probably slightly easier than Dragon Slayer 2 and Monkey Madness 2, but it's still Grandmaster, it's still going to be quite hard to complete. Along with this, you're also going to need a fair few quests. You have to do Morning's End Part 2 and obviously all the sub-quests leading up to it. Also making history, which you need Priest in Peril and Restless Ghost. So there's quite a few requirements, but it's not that bad and it shouldn't take you too long to get there. A couple of the 70s and stats are definitely going to take a little while, but overall it's not that bad. For the recommended stats, I'd highly recommend a high mining level. The actual damage you do to Forecalf scales off your mining level, so the higher you're mining, the more damage you're going to be doing. Now, I'd also highly recommend having a high smithing level and a high runecrafting level. Again, this is actually for the damage in his shield phase, because the damage you do comes off of these two skills. So having a high smithing and runecrafting is going to increase the damage you do in that, and then overall it's going to increase the amount of profit you can make. Along with this, it's definitely worth having a dragon pickaxe, or better, obviously the crystal pickaxe is best in slot, but having these does actually increase your damage, and once again increase the amount of money you can make. So now we're going to go over the gear. So I'm going to start off with the chest plate. Now the best in slot is using Varrock armor. It doesn't matter which tier, but they do give a slight percentage chance of getting double Tephra while you're mining that, getting ready for the boss, which is going to speed up your preparing ever so slightly. Then in our cape slot, we're going to be using the hit points cape, glove slot, the regen bracelet. This is just to restore as much hit points as possible. If you do get hit, these are quite handy to restore you up over time. Other than that, you're just going to be using full graceful or any weight reducing armor, along with some nice prayer bonus items if you are going to be using your preserved prayer, but it doesn't really matter too much. Now for the weapon slot, obviously we're going to be using a pickaxe, the best in slot being the crystal pickaxe, but obviously this does cost and degrade slightly. The dragon pickaxe is very, very good here, and if you can't afford either of them, a rune pickaxe will do just fine. Now the only other worthwhile item getting is in the ring slot. You can get a celestial ring. You do this by obviously the stardust mining, but this actually gives an invisible +4 boost to mining, which will increase the amount of damage you can do to Zalcano. Now inventory wise, to be honest, you're just going to want a couple stamina potions. This is just so you don't run out of run energy, and then along with that, just a load of brews, and that is just to recover. These are very high healing for a low amount of space needed to hold them. So yeah, just 10 of them should do you quite fine. There is a bank just above the area, so you can always rebank in between trips if you really needed to. So for the location, I'd say there's only really 3 viable methods to get there. One is using the Prif on the Spirit Tree and then just running down south. The other using the House Telly, obviously if your house is in Prif, and then from that you can obviously run. Or the Crystal Telly Seed, and then once again selecting Prif will get you very, very close to the start point of Zalcano. Okay, so we're going to do a quick demonstration on how to get there from the home teleport and also the Crystal Seed. What you want to do is run east here, under this sort of tower. Keep running east. If you are using the Crystal Teleport Seed, you're going to land somewhere around about here. All you want to do is keep going east. When you get to this sort of junction here, you're going to want to go south, round here, and as you can see, that is the teleport platform. Go down there, and here we are, ready to take on Zalcano. Now, a very good tip that could help you out massively is you want to find a good sized team that maximizes how fast you can kill Zalcano so it doesn't take too long, and maximize the amount of damage you can do to him and increase the amount of profit you can make. Now, the most ideal team size is 4. 3's not too bad, 5's not too bad, but 4 is the optimum. Now, the best way to find a group is Zalcano host group chat. From here, you can find loads of people. They'll say their world number and +1. That means they want someone to join that world, and you could always just message in the group if there's any +1s available and find a world that way. So now I'm going to go over a very basic overview of the whole fight and what we're going to be doing. So first off, you're going to be mining the glowing rock. One of them's going to glow, you just want to mine that one. When you've got some tephra, you're going to then run to the furnace, smelt all of your ore. You then run to the other side, and that's the altar. That's where you're going to imbue it using your rune crafting. Once you do that, you can then chuck them at Zalcano. The best damage though is if you wait for the circle phase, which we're going to go over a little bit in a minute. If you stand on the blue one, you do slightly more damage. So once her shield has been fully depleted, you can now start mining and just repeat this until she's dead. Now throughout this fight there is a few things you're going to have to watch out for. These being certain attacks that Zalcano can do, which will damage you quite a lot if you're not keeping an eye on it. The first being the falling rock, which looks and sounds like this. Basically, you see the falling dust, and as it gets closer to the ground, you can see a shadow of where it's going to hit. All you have to do is move one square away to avoid any damage. Now, another thing you're going to want to watch out for is the shooting rock. Now, this usually happens near the start of the phase, so you can kind of predict when this is going to happen, but what you do is while you're mining away, he will turn and face the rock that you're currently mining, and he will shoot a rock towards it. It will explode, and then obviously if you're too close, you will take quite a bit of damage. This looks and sounds like this. Now, to avoid this, all you have to do is wait for him to turn. As soon as he shoots it, you've got a few seconds to click away and avoid any damage. Now, another thing you're going to have to watch out for is what I call the floor circles. This is a series of blue and orangey yellow circles. The yellow ones will damage you quite a lot. The longer you stay on them and the longer they're out, the more damage they do. So bear that in mind. The blue circles are perfectly fine to run through, and in fact, standing in them when you're chucking the tephra to deplete his shield actually does give you a bonus damage, so it's definitely worthwhile doing that. One thing to bear in mind though, when you are chucking it and the falling rocks appears, what you want to do is move on a square where no one's been stood and where you're not stood, and then you should avoid that damage. And the floor circles look and sound like this. All you need to do really to avoid damage on this is just to be very careful when pathing either to mining, or whether you're going to go and smelt at the furnace, or even go to imbue at the old way. Just be a little bit careful not to go on those orange ones, and when you're going on those blue ones, like I said, be careful with the falling rocks. Make sure you move onto a tile that no one has been stood on. Now, the only other thing worth pointing out is the golem, which looks and sounds like this. After spawning the golem, this will slowly make its way towards Zalcano. You can damage this with the tephra once it's been fully imbued, and if it dies, it will drop whoever done the most damage more imbued tephra, which obviously can then be used on Zalcano herself, or possibly more golems. If it does reach her, it will actually heal her by quite a lot, so it is definitely worthwhile getting rid of these, especially if you've already done a little bit of damage towards Zalcano. Now, the only other thing worth mentioning is she will damage you periodically with a very small attack, which is completely unavoidable. It's very, very small though, doesn't really hurt you, so to be honest, you don't really got to worry about that too much. But that pretty much wraps up all of the mechanics for Zalcano, and to be honest, I'm probably going to do a quick walkthrough, not a full one, but most of it, just so you can see it all together and see how we do this. Okay, so we're going to do a full walkthrough now. You want to run towards the glowing rock, mine that as many as you want. You can want to base it off a team. At the moment, I'm in a small team, someone's waiting out there, so I'm probably going to get a few more than you usually would. That's just to stock up as best you can. As you can see, there's a golem over there. No point in attacking that this early on. He's just not going to heal up Zalcano. We haven't done any damage to him yet anyway. You want to make your way to the furnace when you've got enough ore. Smelt as many as them as possible. As you can see, a rock's about to fall on me, so I move out of the way. You then want to carefully path your way through these. Don't land on the orange ones. It's pretty simple. Make your way to the other altar, and that is where you're going to runecraft them, make them all into the actual ammo you can actually use to kill him. When you have all the ammo you want, you just want to sort of hang about, do a little bit of damage to him if possible. As you can see, there's actually a golem coming now, and I don't want him to heal him up, so I'm going to hopefully kill that before he makes it towards him. Yep, just, that's alright. And the golem actually does drop a load of imbued ether, so you can actually go and do as much damage as possible. As you can see now, when he spawns the rings, you can actually shoot off the blue ones, and it does more damage. When he does that, you know you need to move. And it's pretty much as easy as that. I'm just going to keep doing damage to him because I've got loads of the Teffer stuff. And when he's in this depleted state, you just want to mine away at him. After a little bit of mining, the health bar will change to an orangey sort of colour, which is going to do any second now, like that. And then you're going to want to go and start mining again. And you pretty much just repeat the process as much as possible. Keep an eye out now, because like that is, he's actually shooting towards the rock, and that will damage that and obviously explode and do a lot of damage to you. So you do not want that. Again, falling rocks, just want to move to the side. And then back to smelting them, and then making our way across, and then runecrafting them. And it's just a case of repeating this process over and over again until you've killed Zalcano. Rock Golem there. Obviously, we have to dodge these red circles. Pathing is quite important on this, not to take too much damage. When you've got enough of them, you can go on, stand on the blue ones, get a few hits off in between. Go back and then imbue them all again. Again, blue squares, stand on them, fire as many rocks as you can at Zalcano, back in to do the mining phase. What you want to do as well is make sure you don't walk under him at this point, because he can actually damage you when he's in this phase. Wait until the bar goes orange like that, and now you can run through him. And if you're too close to him as well in this, he will actually damage you once again. Shooting towards the rocks, so we're going to want to run away. Run towards another glowing rock. Now there's a few more of us, there's 3 of us. I don't need as many rocks, so you kind of just base it on how many of you are in a group. Obviously, ideally you want to be in a team of 4, because that's the most optimal. And once you finish Zalcano off, like hopefully we should do now, there we go, and you get yourself a decent loot, crystal shard and pure essence. Oh, that is literally the worst loot you could possibly get. But yeah, it's pretty simple. You can't really go too far wrong. As long as you don't take too much damage, it can stack up quite fast, so you've got to be a little bit careful for that. So there we go, that pretty much wraps up this guide. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. It helps the channel out massively. If you have any questions or anything I didn't cover in the video, feel free to leave a comment. I try and answer as many as possible. And I also done 10 hours of Zalcano recently on mobile, so if you want to watch that, the link is on the screen right now. And as always, I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.